Caitlin, I had a terrible, terrible day the other day. I was working away, and then I get this phone call. That's it. I got a phone call.
Oh, God, how traumatic.
Yeah, it wasn't a scheduled phone call. It was just a phone call.
You know what? We're going to...
A person just randomly just calls me out of nowhere with questions. Questions that I wasn't prepared to answer. I had to stop what I was doing and go find the information to answer their questions. It's 2022. That's correct, right? We're in the year 2022.
I'm not going to have your back on this, Craig. I enjoy a phone call. I find it delightful. I like to catch up with my friends. I like to hear about them. I call my friends that live in Austin, and we have phone calls. Shout out to Piam, who I talk to on the phone. Shout out to Anastasia, who I talk to on the phone
Unprompted?
all the time. Talk to Sam, who I'll have long phone calls with all the time. I talk to all my friends on the phone, except for... No, I've even had long phone calls with you. What are you even talking about?
We schedule our phone calls because we respect each other. I don't just randomly call you out of nowhere.
I do it to you. I called you when I knew you were at the box to ask you how my espresso machine works the other day.
And you knew I was busy. You knew I was in the box.
I knew it. It was on purpose. That was a troll. I trolled you.
Were you able to figure it out? Were you able to figure out your steam wand?
No. I mixed a bunch of salted caramel in with the espresso and we called it a day. I reheated it. Because I was trying so hard to froth the milk because I usually have iced lattes like Exhibit A.
Okay, pro tip. When you're wanting to froth the milk, you have to do it only whilst the milk is cold. Once the milk reaches 100 degrees, it is time to stop frothing. But you also have to know how to turn your steam wand on. That's step one.
I'm not worried about knowing how to turn on a steam wand, Craig. I think I can maneuver my way through that one. It's not rocket science.
So
I went to theater camp. I can figure it out.
So I have exercised my gripe. Okay, the only thing worse than an unprompted phone call in the year 2022 is a voicemail. If you leave a voicemail, chances that I listen to it are zero.
I leave hilarious voicemails. My friends have loved me since high school because I leave joke voicemails that are a delightful surprise. I don't have your back on this. Not even a little bit. I love phone culture. And I think the fucking Ebenezer Scrooges of our millennial generation need to back the hell off because phone culture is fun. And we grew up with a landline and would call our friends and do prank phone calls. And it's why are we in such a hurry to kill phone culture? It's gross and I won't stand for it. And if you're one of these little Nellies that doesn't like a phone call, get over it. It's culture.
I'm going to start calling you at 7 in the morning when Charlie gets up.
I actually really appreciate that. My entire life, I do my best to have someone in my life who calls me in the morning to wake me up because I struggle to wake up in the morning.
At 7 in the morning? You want to wake up at 7 in the morning?
Yes, Craig, I'm inviting it. I've been taking the midday spin class, but I'll move to the morning spin class if you help me get there, but you have to make a solemn vow.
Caitlin, we have been gone for a long time.
Yes, welcome to the Texas Poker Experience, everybody. This is Craig Sear. I'm Caitlin Komeski. We talk about we talk about sex. No, we talk about Texas poker.
We talk about a lot of things, but we had a little bit of trouble with our studio equipment. Then we had a little bit of trouble with you not being in the state of Texas.
Yes, I spent 2 weeks in Las Vegas, longest poker trip I've ever taken.
That's a long time.
It was a hoot and a half. We'll get into it.
I think I spent 10 days in Vegas one time, and I vowed never again.
Well, I think the reason why I was able to pull it off is because I have a good friend, Julia, who I went to Dallas to do the burlesque show for. She owns the burlesque troupe I used to perform with. Mm-hmm. And she has a place in Vegas that she lets me stay at. And she was out on tour. So I had her 2-bedroom place with a full kitchen and bathroom. I got to be in a home. I wasn't in a resort. I wasn't staying on Strip. I didn't have to walk downstairs and walk through a smoke-filled casino. And even though I am a cigarette smoker, I do not smoke indoors. If I'm playing a table game and I'm fucking half in the bag, maybe I'll smoke a cigarette indoor. But I mean, part of smoking culture is going outside and getting fresh air, ironically. But anyway, side note.
That is kind of ironic. What about a vehicle? Vehicle too?
I smoke in my car. Yeah,
no,
but not when I have passengers.
You got this place to stay, but did you also get a vehicle in that package as well?
No, I did not get a vehicle. Perhaps I could have asked her, but she doesn't even let me pay her for her home, so I don't want to, But I take Ubers. So that's why I was kind of like glad to get back to Texas because I was sick of, $30 in Ubers. I was originally going to stay for a week, and then I had like results such that I thought I was ready to play the main event for the first time, and I decided to sell action, and I didn't want to wait another year, and then I wanted to take the shot. So after I added on the second week, I went to the grocery, and that second week when I was grinding events, I had a sack lunch. I had a water bottle. I had like hand sanitizer. I had everything I needed. Like it's like regular Caitlin from 2 years ago, Cash Grinder Caitlin would mock and make fun of me as she ordered her Thai food and ordered cocktails from the club with my little sack lunch and my headphones. I didn't really wear headphones in the WSOP. I was really enjoying like meeting new people and being fun at the table, especially in those early levels when you have people that are willing to drink with you and stuff and create that more cash game like environment. I always do my best to go that route if I can pull it off.
I can understand the allure for very serious poker players to want to go out to the World Series at least once in the lifetime, but the very serious players every single summer. But I got to say, on social media and all the things that I saw, I did not see anything that resembled fun to me. It looked quite miserable, quite grindy.
Yeah, it's hard work. I was telling you before the podcast started recording, like it is sort of, an athletic event. I was really grateful that I spent all those weeks and months lifting weights and doing my spin classes. And when I was there, I definitely walked everywhere and got my steps in and stuff because you need a type of stamina that is athletic, because it's not like you're not going to be sharp at 11 o'clock in the morning when you on your 12th hour of playing if you don't have the prep work needed for that. So I think part of what I loved about the WSOP is that I did feel so prepared for it. And I was like, no, this is what I trained for months. I got ready for this. And there's something very, very exciting about that pursuit. But I can see how, like, as a non-poker player, you're looking at all these people bricking event after event after event, or, imagining what it's like walking through a stuffy, oxygen-pumped casino day after day. And there's definitely a part that takes a toll on your body just physically. But I think like the adrenaline that those of us that like love the game and love tournament poker feel is, it makes it worth it. It's a very exciting time. I'm so glad it's part of my life annually now.
So along the same lines of preparation and making sure that you're ready for things, coming back to the podcast today, how did you prepare?
I rolled out of bed like 20 minutes before I needed to be here, and I said, fuck it, I don't need makeup. I'll just keep my sunglasses on.
So let's draw some similarities and differences to preparing for, let's say, the main event and coming back to the podcast after a 1 month hiatus.
I look sharp as a whistle. I had a fresh face of makeup both days. Don't even try to come at me for that. I was ready that day.
Okay. All right, so we know where the priorities are.
Shit, Sherlock.
That's good. Again, though, I will just say I don't really like tournaments in general. I have not been secretive about that whatsoever. I've been very honest about that. I think all of the content that I saw from the World Series, all I was thinking was I would rather sit in traffic on I-35 in a car that does not have proper air conditioning with the windows rolled up at 4 p.m. in July than be at the World Series playing poker. It looked miserable. It just looked so awful. Like, the fields look incredibly strong. I'm seeing so many good players from around here that I know to be good players. I know to be winning poker players, winning cash game players, winning tournament players, just getting crushed out there.
It's MTT poker,
I think
it's
about
really
how
hard. You got to win your all-ins. There are a lot of landmines you got to avoid. I got bounced from the main event with aces. You just...
I'm talking about players that I see. You'll see them at the lodge. They're playing 2-5. They'll play one orbit and be like, this table sucks, and they want a table change, but they'll willingly go out and just battle against all of these players that are good enough to put $5,000 in for a buy-in.
Well, yeah, because that player has to make money playing cash to be able to afford to brick so hard at the WSOP. Craig.
Yeah, I got to work really hard to make all this money here to go to Vegas.
To go give it to people
off.
that are better than I am.
Right. We did have We did have some Central Texas poker players, some Austin poker players.
Well, let's save that for the end. That's our
well.
top 5, right?
Yeah.
Let's save that for the end. Let's catch up on some of the Vegas tea, some of the, gossipy stories that came out of the World Series. So I think a theme that keeps coming up all series long is, of course, the cheaters. Jake won a bracelet. Jake Schendler, who's been accused of some of the cheatings that we've gone into detail before about previous episodes. I don't know who's specifically accused of what, but, ghosting, RTA, multi-accounting, things of this nature.
Again, why would anyone play poker online?
And they've been blacklisted from a lot of other tours. I think they were blacklisted from the ETP. They got bounced from that event at Monaco or whatever. Is that an ETP event? It was an event in Monaco they weren't allowed at. And then I think they were... the Triton series banned them as well, but the WSOP didn't. And because, they are, despite their cheating history, they're talented players, so they made deep runs. I know Berkey has been sort of this spearhead figure of thinking they shouldn't even get coverage at all. And that it was sort of a Twitter gossip that came up. He was like, okay, but y'all like blacklisted Poker Bunny for just being like a loud, obnoxious 23-year-old girl. These are not his words. Go look up his exact words. But he was like, you blacklisted Poker Bunny more than you did these cheaters. And I think that's wrong. And Poker News came back and was like, well, I don't think that's fair. It's like, we do talk about their cheating a lot of times, and the headlines were saying accused cheater Ebony Kenny, or like, it's not that we're not commenting on it, but they are making deep runs. And I think that it is newsworthy. And I think that this is an unfair criticism. So there's definitely been some discourse back and forth. How do you feel? I am with Poker News. I got Poker News's back on this one. I feel like it's like, yeah, they're cheaters. They haven't ignored the fact that they're cheaters, but if they're making deep runs and they haven't been banned from these events, that is newsworthy. How do you fall?
I think it's more so where they're cheating. They're cheating online mostly. So when you have the backing of the WSOP, which has a splendid track record, they're controlling things. So I don't think there's a way that they could cheat. And I think if there was, I think there'd be a lot more than just that handful of people that you'd need to be concerned about, because I think there's a lot of people that would cheat if given the opportunity. That's why there's so much routine in poker. That's why there's cut cards. That's why there's, a shuffle routine for the dealer. That's why everything that exists is there to thwart ways that people would cheat. Word. So I wouldn't be so concerned about being cheated by Ebony Kenny at the World Series of Poker in a 10K event. But if I was going to go play an online event, I'd want to make sure that clown's not in there, because he's a known,
Okay, so that's your stance on the cheating, but what about the media coverage? Like, should these players be covered? They're making deep runs. They made I think both Jake and Bryn made day 4 or 5, and Jake won a goddamn bracelet.
Yeah, you're going to cover whoever wins each bracelet. So that's like a no-brainer. Of course you're going to cover them. And I want to know about it. It's a big deal.
It's newsworthy.
I want to know about it. Of course they should be covered.
And then, okay, so another tea that came out, Poker Bunny adjacent, was she got dragged into the whole argument about who's worthy of covering. Why would you take such a stand with her for making these scenes or being rude to other players, et cetera, whatever the rumors are, versus an actual known cheater. She the very next day was playing an event. I guess it was the 777 or the one drop. I don't know which one, but apparently she noticed she was shorted 10K on a bet, and she self-labeled herself as throwing a disruptive scene and yelling, and now everyone thinks I'm a bitch. And Bren and her backer, Dara Kearney, Irish player, was no, as her backer, I'm glad that she's willing to protect my investment or whatever. But it is a pattern of disrespecting people with name tags. And when you are screaming at someone with a name tag, you have to know that they cannot match your energy. They're at work. They're in uniform. I think it's really scummy to yell at people like ticket agents at the airport or waiters at a restaurant. You can get exactly what you're getting through screaming by just being assertive, patient, and fair. If she really thought she can talk to them, she can be persistent, she can be firm, but it's the moment you're screaming or being disrespectful to someone in a name tag, that's really messed up, in my opinion.
It does sound like a lot of the fields were very poorly managed. A lot of the tournaments were very poorly managed, especially at the beginning of the series. I'm part of a bunch of poker dealer forums and groups on Facebook and just reading some of the posts that people were making and some of the things that some of the dealers that were already out there telling other dealers, hey, if you come out later in the series, these are the things you need to know. And some of those things were like, why should they need to know that? That should be pretty basic. But apparently it's enough of a problem that they felt the need to alert other dealers of this problem ahead of time so that they could avoid it themselves. A lot of tricky stuff. I mean, it's tough being in that position. There's so many people, the traffic. And then I heard from some players too that there were some dealers that were just like, looked like they'd never dealt a hand of poker before.
Yeah.
That's got to be brutal. You fly from, some people flying from the other side of the world, they come in for the World Series of Poker, the biggest series of poker that there is on the planet, and they pony up what might be a very significant sum of money for them, and then they sit down in the very first hand, the dealer's making elementary mistakes. And it's like, I literally have a better dealer in my neighborhood game than...
I never encounter those dealers that are that bad. Sometimes I encounter dealers that are fucking exhausted and can't read the board.
That happens
for sure.
too.
I think it happens more often because these guys are working like 15 hours, no break. It's pretty absurd. I think they lost a lot of dealers throughout the series, just like overworking them because the turnouts were so huge for all these events, you know, pretty close to record-breaking numbers for the main and the ladies and all types of events. Another thing I did want to touch on in the series is a couple of chip pocketing incidences, one of which I was in the event, the ladies event. There was a lady who apparently played the warm-up event the day before and had pocketed chip. And the details around this are murky, so all this with a grain of salt, but there was a chip pocketing situation. And she got caught bringing chips out of her pocket, and they gave her a 1-round penalty at first while they investigated it. I think eventually she was bounced from the event. I don't know if she's busted. I heard multiple stories. But I heard one story that she got caught cheating. They gave her a 1-round penalty, and then she got caught doing it again. I heard that from a dealer. Again, I don't know what the stories are true, but that was one. And then the other one was Scotty Nguyen. Apparently, Scotty Nguyen was pretty buzzed when he registered for the main event or whatever. They gave him his chips. He put them in his pocket, and then he sat down on the table and said he hadn't gotten chips yet. And then he eventually remembered, I have chips in my pocket, and they gave him a 1-round penalty for that. And I did see one tweet on Twitter that was like, how is it fair that like some guy who's never played a WSOP event in his life before playing out of turn accidentally is the same penalty as like a veteran of the game of several decades pocketing chips? How is that the same punishment? And I agree. And a lot of people were like, oh, well, he was just drunk. But I don't know. That's pretty spicy. It's a boss of meatball.
And so correct me if I'm wrong here. They have, I'm assuming, different sets, but there's so many tournaments going on in such close proximity to each other. What is to keep somebody from, say, pocketing a 5K chip or a 25K chip, a big chip, and then just like when they register the main, adding it to their stack? Yeah. They're using the same chips multiple times. It's not like they have a specific set just for the main event. And I talked to someone on Tuesday night this week that was saying that's been going on for years, where people will register for some of the small events, not even intending on cashing. They're literally paying $1,000, and then they're just pocketing some of the bigger chips. If they make a deeper run, they'll really pocket some big chips, and they will sell them to big-time players in the main event in the bathroom. And so that's been going on for years and years and years, and there's really no way to stop it.
I mean, I've heard all kinds of rumors of people colluding in bathrooms through the years, and I don't doubt that it doesn't happen. But yeah, I mean, keep your eyes and ears open, y'all. Let's keep the game fair.
That's a really strange concept. I can't.
I love how you always struggle to know why people do bad things. You sweet, sweet angel.
Okay. In the, I don't want to say shortest, but be concise, your overall World Series experience.
Horrible intro into that. I hate that.
Tell us,
monster.
Tell us things that we don't know about the World Series. I've never been. Tell me about your experience.
So this is like my first time. The only other WSOP event I've done, I played the ladies event last November. I just played that event. I didn't play any other one. This one I arrived, I wasn't planning to play the tag team, but somebody needed a partner. I stepped in, and that was super fun. That one's like a party, fun, like warm-up environment. The WSOP ladies event is also another one with like a rec heavy field where like a lot of ladies are drinking, a lot of ladies are having fun. Like it's a really party atmosphere. And so I was really glad that I started my trip with those events. And then by the time you get to the main, it really drops in and it's serious. The bounty sort of warms you up to that. I know a lot of people that fired a lot of bullets into that bounty because you could enter it twice per flight, essentially.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. And somebody drew $1 million. Matt Glantz, who I guess I don't know much about him, but apparently he's a somewhat divisive figure, was the one who pulled the $1 million bounty. But the thing, I know some people that really, really like bounty events and they think they have an edge on it based on, their understanding of the value of the bounty relative to the value of the chips. But the structure of it is so weird to me that we're taking such giant chunks out of the prize pool for these bounties to where first place was like, what, $100K or something? And then the min cash is literally like a $60 profit.
It gets the Rex in there. It gets the Rex in
so.
there because there's some lottery to it.
Well, that was the event where I was playing my main event flight the next day. I had made it deep into the day one flight. I was at like level 18 or 19. And in the mini main, I had made it to this point and I had bricked like maybe a dozen or two people before the cash. So I really wanted to hit it. So I just folded my way into, because I was like 20 big blinds. I'm like, I'm just going to fold for 2 hours here. Fuck everyone. I'm not making $60 today. So once I locked up the cash, I had like sub 10 big blinds and I just kept folding. I refused to put it in. I was also card dead. Like obviously I woke up with aces, I would have played it. But like at one point I had 7 big blinds. I'm in the big blind, so 5 big blinds behind. And there's one min open and it folds around to me and I look down at 7, 5 off and it's like right before the next break or whatever. And we're about to hit another pay jump. It's the difference between me working for 12 hours and making like $150 versus making like $370. Like that's a pretty nice pay jump when you consider the fact that I was here all fucking day and this is my job and I'm trying to cover my meals and my Ubers and like I care about $250 today. I do. Sorry, suck it. And I just folded my way to that pay jump. Because I wasn't going to bag. Like there were a couple of times where I had like maybe like ace 10 off in a spot that's a shove relative to my stack and the action or whatever. But I was just like, no, I'm not going to bag today. Like I want the $200 and I'm getting it. I'm folding. And I've never done that in a tournament, but I did feel very like sneaky and clever.
You're definitely not the first. That's
oh no, it's like totally big. And I wasn't stalling. Let me make it clear. I think stalling can be really bad for the game and like whatever. And you can take your little like 10, 15 second tanks, whatever, if you're trying to make a pay jump. But I was just folding. It wasn't that I was tanking. I was just.
I don't think tanking can be bad for the game. I think it's horrific for the game. Definitively horrific for the game. It is so bad.
I don't like slow play, especially for cash games. I was playing on TCH live last night, and there were a lot of technical difficulties that slowed down the game, and no shade to the production staff. They work so hard over there. Mad love to Kristen, who has me on the show, and David, who produces over there. Technical difficulties happen, whatever. But independent of that, the game was also slow because everyone was tanking and the pots weren't even that big. And some of these players were tanking for a minute on the river over like a $250 bet in a 5, 10, 25 game. And I was just like, this is... if you're seriously counting combos that you beat right now, I hate you. Please just make your decision. We are, and it was a mostly pro game too. And I was just like, this is a tough lineup. Like, come on, just fucking make a decision. I can't stand slow cash games. And I had a headache too. So it's probably more that than anything.
There's two things that kind of drive me nuts with things like that is when someone is facing, say, a $15 open in a 1-2 game. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of a big open, but you get 8 seconds to make that decision, whether you're 3-betting, calling, or folding. I mean, it's not that difficult a decision. It's very early in the hand. I mean, come on, let's go. But I also think it's crazy that players feel the need to apologize when they're facing an $800 raise shove on the river in a 1-2 game. And they're like, sorry for taking so long. I'm just trying to figure this out. It's like, yeah, that's a 400 big blind bet. Okay.
That annoys me less. Okay. Same amount of money, 2 different games. I'll tell you why it annoys me less. That $200 means more to the 1-2 player than it does to the 5-10 player. It just friggin' does. Those are different. A small pot when you're like 300 big blinds deep is a lot different than like a 200 big blind pot in a 1-2 game. It's different. Like, those are different. I would rather the 1-2 player tank. He's the one learning the game. He's the one, figuring it the fuck out.
Yeah, but we all know the spot regardless. What I'm saying is I can't believe they feel the need to apologize. We all know those blender moments when someone makes a huge bet and you're like, oh, God, am I beat here? Like, there's so few ways I'm beat, but if I am, it's a massive, massive bet. It's like, yeah, take your time, figure it out. We will wait in this spot for sure. But they feel the need to apologize because other people slow the game down so often in minor, small spots.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, geez, I'm sorry. Like normally they're the one policing the game saying, hey, it needs to be quicker. And in this instance, they're saying, geez, I hate to be the one slowing down and everything. And it's like, no, we get it. That's a huge bet. Take your time.
No, I wish I was more patient about it. So, sometimes I just try to time it to where if I know there's about to be a big, long pot, that's when I use the ladies' room.
Can I tell you about my favorite part of the World Series?
Please.
Second favorite part, actually. My favorite part was a deep run by someone that will be named later, one of our favorites in the main event. But my second favorite part of the World Series was your Instagram story where you posted your cash from the ladies' event and you sent it to your mom and you showed her that you finished whatever place.
I showed her like my payout ticket. It said 135th place on it.
And your mom was so happy for you and so glad. And then she asked if you were still alive in the event.
Yes. She's like, congrats, woohoo. Are you still in? I was like, no, that's my payout ticket. And of course, I was patient with her. She's my loving, supportive mother. But I did post it online.
I was dealing Tuesday night, the game, and we have the main event streaming live on PokerGo. And of course, people were there that were talking about their... some people were at the World Series and whatever. Yeah. And Chad, Chad?
Of course.
I constantly needle Chad. He has an excellent sense of humor and he takes it super well. I don't needle people that can't take it. Chad takes it better than anybody. And so someone was talking about the main event and this and that. And Chad goes, yeah, I played. And they're like, oh, you played? And he's like, yeah, I played in the main event. I busted, whatever. And I said, are you still in it? His face turned so white. He couldn't believe that I unleashed that one on him. And I was like, ooh, I might have found the border. I might have found the boundary.
I just flew in to play this game. Just flew in to play the game.
Yeah, what a commute. Yeah, he's blinding off with 10 tables left. He's blinding.
He's like, I think the value is here at this 1-2 game.
Yeah, so wild. But his brother actually had quite a deep run and lost on kind of a cooler spot.
Sorry, Alex.
But he did well. I think he had a good series overall.
Chad's a good-natured lad. I gave him a hard time on the stream, and then I highlighted it and clipped it and put it in my blog.
Great speech play. Unbelievable speech player, Chad. He is very, very, very good. Do you want to talk top 5?
Sure.
Let's do the top 5 WSOP performers from Texas.
Let's do it.
That we know of. I think this is going to be a little Austin/Central Texas heavy because we don't really know a lot of the Dallas players and the Houston players and whatnot. But I am prepared. Number 5, Ebony Kenny.
Ebony made day 5 or day 6, I think, of the main. She did cash. And she was just like so joy-filled in all her postings as she usually is, and such a great ambassador of the game. I saw many like recreational players that played with her and gave her a shout out on Twitter for something that I know that she does, where she'll sit down at a new table and she'll get everyone's name. And I pride myself in my ability to get the table talking, but she's better at it than me. She's really talented.
It's especially difficult in tournaments because way more grinders, way more headphones.
She's active. She puts energy and effort into everything that she does. And I think it's very sexy. And congrats on your deep run, Ebony. Good job. Number 4,
Matt Mcdowell. I don't know Matt.
I know Matt Mcdowell. Matt Mcdowell, I think, cashed a few and made like a deepish run in an event early in the month. But his exciting was an online win. He cashed like second or third place for like $75K in one of the online events. So congrats to Maddie McDowell. You've been putting in the work for months and months and months, and it's obviously paying off. Congrats, Maddie.
Is he an Austin guy? Did you say this already?
Yeah. He was a dealer at TCH, at Palms. I don't think he deals anymore. He works for Adam, if you know Adam, who does like Ticketmaster or something or other, something to do with like tickets for events or anyway. Congrats to those guys on your ticket business.
Number 3, my number 1, biggest sweat of the whole series for me was Seti.
We love Seti, former guest of the pod, friend of the pod, Seti. Yeah, I'd gotten to hang out with him earlier in the week. We had dinner with some lodge folks and then went out and had some bevies. He's a hoot and a half. He's such a nice guy. Yeah, it was so much fun to root for him. He had like a viral moment where he was like, no pay jump yet. We're all going to put it on a t-shirt. No pay jump yet.
I believe the shirts are out there and I think I'm going to have to get one. He was like chip leader of his day.
Flight. He played the first flight and he bagged the biggest bag. Yeah.
1A. And so that was cool. And then he had a pretty decent day 2. Said he had a tough table on day 2. Starting day 3, he made an Instagram post saying, do you think I will cash today? Or do you think, whatever? And he said, thumbs up if you think I'll cash, thumbs down if you think no. And he's like, we all need haters to prove wrong. So I commented on it and I said, if I give you a thumbs down, will you not only cash, but will you ship it for 10 million and then come back on the pod and dress me down for hating? And he's like, sure, sounds good.
Love it.
And when he not only cashed, but he's literally moving up, he had like a top 50 stack after day 3 and he did well on day 4 and he's going into day 5 and all this. And I'm thinking, oh my God, he is going to do it. This is going to be so epic. I will just sit on my hands and let him just yell at me for an hour straight on the pod. It's going to be excellent. I mean, in addition to the money, in addition to the fame and the fortune, all of those things that he deserves because he's so awesome.
Yeah.
I was heartbroken when he was 2 outed on that turn. I can't even imagine the pain for him and for the folks that had flown out there to support him. But what an awesome experience. I can't wait to talk to him about it in person. I'm sure it was just edge of the seat exciting. The last dinner break that he was involved, I don't know if you saw on his Instagram story, but I mean, there had to be 18 or 20 people at that dinner. I don't know how you squeeze that into that small dinner break, but there was a ton of people. He had a huge support structure out there. It just kind of speaks to who he is as a person, how much everybody loves him.
Yeah, no, he is a kind, gregarious, authentic soul, and it was so fun to watch him succeed. Congrats, Seti.
And an even deeper run from someone local to here was Nate. Everybody knows Nate Kogel.
Yep, she knows man, as I like to refer to him.
Shino's so sweet. I love her to death.
She's awesome. If y'all don't know Shino from the PLO tables, figure it out. She's great.
So yeah, he went, what did he finish? 33rd, I think?
Yeah, somewhere in there. Cameron was 32nd, so he would, 36 maybe?
35th maybe, 35th, I think, for
36, yeah, somewhere in there.
And you just alluded to our number 1.
He told Kenny Tran to his face he talks too much. He's a baller.
Nate said that?
Yes.
Wow.
On the stream table.
There were some viral moments. There were some things being passed around of Nate staring him down. There was like a deep, long stare, like you're full of shit, and I know it. And I know it. And then a bunch of people in the comments, that's usually where all the truth lies. That's usually where most of the entertainment lies, is not in the actual post, but in the comments on the post. So I'm a big comment reader, and I go through and I'm reading, and everyone's like, oh man, everybody knows that uncomfortable moment when Nate is just staring directly into your soul. So kind of a bummer that none of these Central Texas folks made it into the final table. That would be the ultimate sweat.
They were nipping at its heels, though. It was looking so good that we were going to get one. Because our number 1 finisher, of course, Cam Blazovic.
I might be saying that wrong.
Mr. Mullet, he is so fun and sweet at the table. He is a little on the shyer side, but he's like such a fun guy. Like someone told a story the other day. Slicer was at the game last night, and he was like, yeah, one time I was like, a friend was in town and we were hammered, so the club closest to our house is the Oaks. That's where Cam's a regular. So we went over to the Oaks, and Cam was the only one not drinking because Mikey Sides was there and Mikey Sides was drinking. And rather than just try to
Mikey Sides was drinking?
I know, shocking. And rather than just like bum hump these guys, he's like, no, I'll drink some beers with you. And he was just like totally down and cool and sweet. And he's been grinding that 2.5 at TCH and at Lodge, and I definitely see him putting in the hours. And congrats on a huge deep run, Cam. You did great. And if you broke up with your girlfriend and you need someone to spend that money on, you just let me know.
I would be so conflicted if I made it that deep. That's got to be something that once in a lifetime you're already running better than to be expected, I would think, going that deep. You must just be so frozen in a spot where you know it's a shove spot and you're just like, oh, but if I'm wrong, it's over. And I probably never get back to this spot. It's amazing the people that have made, like Alejandro Lococo, like 2 deep runs 2 years in a row. Karai Aldemir winning last year and going mega deep this year. That's incredible that you can go that deep 2 years in a row. There was a lot of discussion at one of the games that I was dealing with.
That's preparation, that's mental toughness. It's so much more than just knowledge of theory. I mean, it's obviously hours in the lab, but it's the whole package.
I mean, Mark Newhouse finished 9th 2 years in a row.
Yep.
Greg Raymer went mega deep the year after he won. Matt Affleck had 2 deep runs. I mean, I have to imagine
that once you've done it once, you're armed with the confidence and the idea that it's possible.
Confidence is one thing, but variance is another.
No, of course. I think it's still a mathematical wonder, but I think that you maybe avoid landmines and you're able to make big folds more so than the average bear because you know what it takes and you've seen the folds that people are making and you've been under the lights and you've seen it and you've tasted the glory. So it's, the path, there's a well-worn path. You're not cutting a machete through the weeds of the unimagined
Another player, lesser known, that a lot of people, I was the one that added this to the discussion of players that went deep 2 years in a row, is Michael Ruan. And there's talk of getting him on this podcast at some point.
Oh, we'd love to
see
you. Is he that cute one?
He's the one that made a straight flush and a guy folded top boat to him when he had a straight flush. I believe that was the second year that he was in.
How do you not get really paid deep there? I'm going to have to ask him about that.
Pretty unbelievable. What
do you do?
That was a wild hand.
Exuding too much sex appeal.
I think the guy just went for his max value on the river, and when he gets raised, he's like, I mean, you either have quads or a straight flush. I just don't know what other hand you could have. Given what I have, I don't know what else you could have that's raising.
No,
here.
These guys that make these big folds is really cool. I made a big fold last night in my straight, not anywhere near in the league of that, but the button opened. And I chose just to flat from the big blind with ace queen because you need some good hands that you just call there with. So ace queen off is a great candidate for that. So I flatted, and then it was an ace high flop, and it went check check on the flop. I was like, okay, that's weird. And so on the turn I lead out, and he calls me, and I'm like, okay, that's weird. So on the river I go for value, and he raises me. I have ace queen. I have one pair. Like there's one gutter that got there on the river, but I'm just like, there's no universe in which this guy doesn't have me beat right now. Like I have one pair. So I just let it go. I went back and watched the stream last night when I was going over my hands with my coach. He had aces. He flopped top set on me. I lost the minimum. That's was so huge dope. Win. It was so dope because it was like the driest board, ace high board. I have ace queen, and it's disguised. It's hidden because I chose to just call.
Yeah, you're never going to put him on aces there, but you're
he opened the button, it's a wide range spot.
Yeah, you're definitely correct in your thinking that why is he checking in position and now all of a sudden he wants to put a bunch of money in on the end.
Yeah, I was like, you tried to trap me, but it did not work, Ming. My apologies.
That's an interesting thing playing on a stream is you get that feedback so quickly.
Oh no, and I remember thinking it was a I mean, I didn't think Ming had river raises as bluffs in him. Like if Slicer or Westlake raised me on the river, I think there's a universe in which they have bluffs there. But this player didn't. So I mean, I didn't snap on camera. I thought it through on camera, but it was mostly posturing. There's no universe in which I was calling with one pair a river raise.
Yeah, that's a weird spot. Definitely player dependent for sure. Mm-hmm. Some players are just incapable of making a bluff on the river in a spot like that with one pair of hands or less than one pair. Would you care to dress each other down just for old time's sake?
Yeah. Well, can we wrap up the WSOP discussion just about talking about my results since it's my podcast? I feel like we're going to, I'll talk about it on my vlog, so I'll just give the Cliff Notes versions here, but I'm proud to say that I played 8 events and I cashed 4 of them. I cashed half my events. I final tabled the first, or I totally bricked out the tag team event. And then I played a smaller Resorts World event that had like somewhere between 300 and 400 entries. And I made the final table. I got 8th. And then I was 3 away from the cash at the Aria Ladies 450K guarantee that got a really good turnout. And I think they chopped like 60K up top 3 ways. So it was pretty cool. And then the mini main was the one where I was like 2 dozen off the cash. I told you about the bounty where I just folded my way to glory. The ladies event, I bagged day 1 above starting stack. And I survived day 2, probably like 5-6 levels. I made the cash and I got out shortly after the cash. But the ladies event had this crazy moment where we were hand for hand and the floor literally announced that we were in the money and we all celebrated. There's like a lady at the table next to me who had like literally 4 blinds and was like crying. She was so happy, her first WSOP cash. And then they pulled the rug out from under us and they said, just kidding. We're going back to hand for hand. And we had to make 2 more eliminations before the cash.
Did she make it still?
That lady still made it. But it was kind of cool because the 2 ladies went out on the same hand and the hand for hand. So they got to split them in cash, which I always kind of think is cool so that one person doesn't have to be the bubble and they almost get their money back, you know? So I got 135th in the ladies and then I played the main event. Like I said, I stayed an extra week and just decided, hey, I'll sell my action. I had more interest in my action than I thought I would. I was going to sell like 30 to 45 and I ended up having to sell 60 because I had so many people interested. So that was really exciting. And the only level of the whole trip they caught me slipping. I played really, really solid. I cashed in a different Aria event after I busted the main as well. But on the main event in level 4, I was just really tired and really hungry. And Jamie Kerstetter was at my table. The poker news reporters were paying a lot of attention to my table and they just caught me slipping. I made some bluff catches with 1 pair hands in situations against players where I knew better. So I got down dangerously low and I was able to get them in the bag, but I only bagged like 21 bigs going into day 2. And then I got eliminated aces versus jacks, just jack right on the flop all in pre, shoved 18 bigs. So, you know, what are you going to do? And
50% cash rate is well above average for those that don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I mean, some of the best in the world cash like 30%. And that's
had I not played
incredible.
the main, I would have. And not all those were WSOP events. One of my cashes was a Resorts World event, and the other one was an Aria. I cashed 2 WSOP events, just so we're crystal clear. Don't want anyone to think because I'm proud of my results. So I'm like, I definitely think I can improve and do better. I want to make deeper runs. I want a bracelet one day. I'm no joke. Like I really, really want it. I
want to sweat really you hard. In the main the way we were sweating SETI this year. That was.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna do my best. All right. On the Texas Poker Experience, thank you for listening to my WSOP journey. If you want to hear more about it, please follow me on YouTube. My personal channel is called Caitlin from Texas. I do have vlogs. This will be my 5th episode. I don't get them out often enough, but I do put a lot of effort into them, and I hope you enjoy them for those of you that have tried them out. All right, on the Texas Poker Experience, we like to end every podcast with a segment we call Harsh But Fair. When you are receiving your feedback, you are not allowed to rebut it. You just have to say, thank you, Harsh But Fair. All right, Craig, would you like to go first?
I will go first. Okay. In the studio where we record, some people listen, some people watch the podcast. We have these lights. Right? If I look directly into them, they can be blinding. Not nearly as blinding as your white legs. Being summertime, you decided to wear shorts today, and my word, you are pasty.
Woo-hoo! Yep. Yeppers.
I literally would think you'd get more of a tan walking from the street in here wearing shorts. So you must never wear shorts outdoors.
I'm alabaster. I'm like a China doll. Put me on your shelf.
You are so white. It is literally blinding.
Thank you. I accept your compliments.
That's all I got.
Okay. What am I going to say about you? Okay.
Oh, usually you have this planned a little better.
I did have one, but I forgot it because we talked for 45 minutes.
I'm skinny. Did you want to hit that again?
I always want to rag on you for your
slightness?
marionette-like body. but I'll let you off the hook today. Your harsh but fair is that you don't deserve your wife. She is a goddess. She's hot. She's athletic. She played collegiate basketball. And the coffee she makes you is really mostly what I'm talking about. Like, she's a lot of really impressive things. She has a really sexy country accent. She's really nice. She's a good mother. But like, I'm mostly talking about those coffees she makes you. You let me have sips of them sometimes. And I just like, I take one sip and I'm like, you don't deserve her. There's no way anyone could deserve this, and you definitely don't qualify. So that's your harsh but fair. You don't deserve your wife.
That's harsh. That's fair. But I would appreciate if you don't point out my run good to the rest of the world publicly. Thank you. We are having a baby shower next weekend, and I do believe you're invited.
It's on my calendar. I received the Facebook invite. I put it on my calendar. I will be there.
Did you respond to the Facebook invite?
I did, I think. I know I put it in my iCal, which is how things happen for me. And I set 4
when you're planning
alarms.
Events, RSVPs helps the planner.
I'm pretty sure I said I was going on Facebook. I don't want to take shit for something I didn't do.
All right. We'll see you there then.
Okay. And audience, you're invited to the party too. It's at their personal home. We're going to have the address in the description.
How about the DMs? Hit the DMs. Hit the DMs if you're interested.
All right, y'all. This has been the Texas Poker Experience. I'm Caitlin Komeski. That's Greg Sear.
Don't be a nit.
And remember to put the straddle on. I have to be a nit in so many of the streams I play. I'm such a hypocrite. They're really okay. If y'all want to sit down with those guys, you can don't be a nit and always put the straddle on too.
Yeah,
all
right. Tight is right, but don't be a nit.
Don't be a nit, but also, please, God, people are getting too good in this town for you to play like a banshee. Be careful out there, soldiers. Okay, I think we communicated effectively.